Okay. So assume that like any Excel file, for example. So this is the Excel file I have taken. So assume that we have name is one column, marks is one column, and subject is one column. So as of now, we have three students like person A, like person A is in two rows.
Okay.
Okay. Person B is in one row, person C is in one row. So I'll simply go to Tableau. So when you open the Tableau, right, so we'll be seeing this page actually. So I can simply click on the Microsoft Excel and I will be navigating to that page where I have saved my Excel file. So I can type also here. When you type, you will see that Excel file here. So I can simply click on open option. Now you see in general what will happen is in real time. So as of now, this Excel file contains only one sheet. On sheet one only we have. But in real time, if the sheet is have if the Excel file contains more sheets, right? Sheet one, sheet two, sheet three, like this. So it will show all the sheets here.
Okay.
Now you can simply drag any sheet with which you want to work on. So for example, I have my data in the sheet one. So I simply drag this sheet one in this area. So here you can see drag tables here, right? So I can drag my sheet one here. Okay. Now you see whatever the data we have in the Excel file that will be shown here. So A is repeating in two rows. I can see that here. B is in one row, C is in one row. Okay. So now I can go to sheet two or sheet one in the Tableau. So on the left side, I can see that Excel file what I have connected just now. And in the Excel file, we have three columns, right? So name, subject, and marks column. So I can see all these three columns here. So here, in addition to these three columns, we have additional columns also there. But we come to this a bit later. But as of now, what are the columns I have in the Excel file? I can see all the columns here. So as of now, what the Tableau will do is Tableau can show only column names only here. It won't show the data in those columns. So if you want to see the data in those columns, right? So we have two methods. So we have row level data, as I said in the first class, we have row level data and we have aggregated data. So if you want to see the row level data, you can come to bottom left side here. Simply click on the data source button.
Okay.
Now you see, you can see all the row level data here. Now I can click on the sheet 2 or sheet 1 again. Now, if you want to see the aggregated data, so for example, what is the meaning of aggregated data means? For example, I am asking the person A, how many marks you got total, not subject wise, how many marks you got in total. So what this person can say is, this person is in two rows. This is the first row in Telugu subject 20 marks. Same person in the other row also. In Hindi subject, he got 40 marks. So I want to see the total marks for this student. That is 20 plus 40. That is 60, right? So if I want to see so this is called aggregated data. Why I am saying aggregation means I told you there are two definitions. So aggregation means combining multiple rows into single row is called aggregation. So this is one type of name. So we are combining person A into single row. See, this is the row level data contains two rows. Person, we are aggregating into a single row and using the which function means sum function. So we are summing up 20 plus 40. These two rows we are summing up for student A. So he is getting 40, 60 here. So like that, if you want to see the aggregated data or aggregated marks for each student in Tableau, then what we do is I can simply go to Tableau, simply drag the marks into the text here. You see, when I drag the marks into text here, you see Tableau is automatically doing the summation here. That means in marks column, how many rows we have, this summation function is doing the summation of all those rows. So which is called aggregation. So it is summing up to 130, 130. So as of now, it is giving the total marks of all the columns, all the rows. So it is summing up all the rows here. But we want this aggregation for each student. So what I will do is I'll go to Tableau, simply drag the name into row shelf here. Now you see Tableau automatically will do the summation or aggregation for each student like this. For student A, it got aggregation 60. For B, it is 30. For example, in future, right? For example, some more rows will be added. For example, assume that for person A, he got 35 marks in, like, for example, science subject. In science subject, he got 30 marks. Now, what I can simply do, I can simply save this data in the Excel file. I'll go to Tableau. I'll simply right click. So you see, so this is the data source, right? So what I'll do is I'll simply right click on the data source and simply click on the refresh button. Now you see person A is, so when you refresh the data, right? So all the sheets will be updated automatically. The data source will be updated automatically. All the sheets will be updated. In the sheet 2, we have student wise marks, right? So this sheet also automatically updated. For example, if I go to my Excel file, I'm adding one more person here, person D here. Assume that he got 70 marks, maybe in Telugu subject. Okay. So I
Okay.
simply save this data in the Excel file. No need to connect every time to this data source. If you create a sheet to once, then you can simply refresh the data. No need to connect every time to the data source. Okay. So if the data source is updated, right, with new students like that in the what we see in the Excel, so we can simply come to Excel tab, simply click on the refresh button. Now you see person D is added automatically. So for example, like that, I have, I'm just updating this. I'm using this name field in sheet 2, sheet 3, sheet 4. Assume that, like assume that in one more sheet, I'm using a subject. As of now, I can see Hindi, Math, Science, Telugu, right? So if I go to my, so as of now in the sheet 2, I have 4 students, right? So what I will do is I'll add one more person here, and I will add one more subject. Like this time, I will try to add English. So assume that this person got 30 marks in the English. So if I go to Tableau and once I refresh the data, right? So automatically all the sheets will be refreshed automatically. See, you see in the sheet 2, person E is added. If I go to sheet 3, person E is added automatically. If I go to sheet 4, English subject will be added automatically. Okay. Once the data source is refreshed, right? So you can simply come to Tableau and you can simply refresh the data here itself. Or what I can do is one more method to refresh the data is I can simply click on the data source button one more time, and you can simply click on this refresh button. So this is a refresh button. So you can simply click on the refresh button. So wherever you do the refresh, I can see all the data here. Here itself automatically in the sheets. Okay.
Okay.
Now we'll go to our class 2. So you can come to this page actually, this website, and you can simply go to syllabus plan. And in the class 2, what we will see is like in today's class, we'll see what is the meaning of data types, and we'll see what is the meaning of data types. So you may remember in the like when you join engineering, right? So our first subject, our first programming language is C language. Okay. So okay, and just go to my paint here. So I'll go to paint here. So the first programming language you are seeing is C language. Then we will see C++, Java, and all those, right? So if you take any language, we will be having data types. For example, in the C language, what I remember is the first program I have written is like generating hello world. So I have to print my hello world, right? I don't want to go in detail actually, but I just want to tell you what is the meaning of data type. So I want to type hello world. And the second question, second programming I have practiced is like A plus B. Like, for example, I want to type A plus B that equal to, that is A is 5 and B is 2. Then I want to print this, what is the output of it. So if you see here, hello world. So when I write the program, I'll keep on writing the program, and so I have to mention. I can simply say, like, for example, I want to wide main, right? So sorry, I don't want to write it actually. Wide main, we will write first line, and in the second line, we have to mention what is the data type of this. So I can say what I'll do is simply str is nothing but hello world. So str, I want to mention one variable a equal to hello world, and so next in the next line, I will try to print this a actually. I'll try to print this a. So a is nothing but what? Hello world. So here, what is the meaning of str means? A is a variable which contains alphabetical letters. So, or I can say what is the meaning of it is? It is a string actually. So because of that reason, I have mentioned hello world is a string field. So what it is a data. What is the data type of it is like string data type. So it is called data types. And if I try to write the second program, right? So what I will do is I'll try to write like this. The second program, I have to mention integer a equal to 5 and integer b equal to 2. Then I can say integer c equal to a plus b. Like that, I will be writing the program, right? So here we will see first what is the meaning of data types here. So I want to print c. C is nothing but a plus b. So here integer, sorry, here integer and string, all these are data types actually. So whatever you all try to do, we have to mention what is the data type of that particular field. Okay, what is the data type of that particular field? So in the C language, we are having like integer and string as a data types. But if you go in real, so if you go to different programming languages, we have Java, we have Python, and we have databases also. So different databases or different programming languages will have different data types. So here also name is one column, right? So this column contains alphabetical letters here. That means it is a data type of string data type. Name is a string data type. And marks, if you see marks here, within the marks column, I have all the numbers here. Numbers means all these are integers, right? So all these are called. So now marks is a of integer data type. Okay, if I go for subject here, I can say the subject contains values like Telugu, Maths, Hindi, like that, right? So all these are called strings actually. Okay, so if any column contains alphabetical letters, that column is called string data type. If any column contains integers, numbers, like that, it is a uh, integer data type. Okay, so like that. So like that, we have, so in each programming language, we will be having some naming convention is different actually. So the naming, so in one database we may call that is a string, or in one database we call the same string as a characters, like that. Okay, so we have data types, separate data types for databases, and we have separate data types for Tableau also. Okay, so now just let me write something here. Okay, so if you take database, right? If you take database, what are the data types we have? Okay, data types in database. So in the database, what are the data types we will be having is like, for example, character. So you know what is the meaning of character? Means it is single letter. Okay, character means it is a single letter. Character, text, text also it contains alphabetical letters, and we have, see, when I say character, it is a single letter. And we have one more data type in the database, that is called So for example, if you want to write hello, right? Hello means 5 letters. So for example, if you want to create a particular column with 5 letters, right? Then I can say I have to mention how many letters you want to insert in that particular column. So character 5, I have to mention like this. Okay. So like this character, varchar. Okay. So all these are coming under like this. So so character, text, varchar, like this we have, like we may have sometimes strings also. Okay. So this is one type of data types in the database, and we have one more type of databases in the database, data types in the database. Those are called dates. So I can say date, right? Date is a one more type of data type. Dates and a date time. So what is the meaning of, what is the difference between date and date time means? Date means I can simply say today is 7 February 2024. That is a date. Date time means I can say date along with the time also. Today is like 7 February 2024 and the time is 6 hour 5 minutes and something 10 seconds like that. So we have one more type of data types in the database. Those are called dates and date times. And we have one more type of databases in database, that is called integer. You know already, floating and a big integer. So we see big integer and all this in C language itself, right? Like that. So this is one type of data types in the database. Now, so character, text, charify, where casting, and all these are the data types in the database, right? So the same data types, how we mention in the Tableau. Sorry if it is first time, right? If you're a bit confusing, just let me know. So in Tableau, what the Tableau will do is, Tableau will take all these data types like character, text, character file, varchar, string. So Tableau will take all these data types as a string data type in Tableau. Okay, I'll show you all these actually in a minute. Uh, but meanwhile, if you have any question, you can ask. Okay. Now, date, time, right? So in Tableau, what we can take this as a, like, what the Tableau will take these data types as same dates only. Same data type only it will take in Tableau. No need to worry. I will tell you how it will take. And integer, float, big integer we have in the database, right? So how the Tableau will take these data types is like number, number whole, and number whole comma number decimal. Number whole comma number decimal. Just give me a minute. Okay. So this is about data types, and we'll go to next topic. In the next topic, I will tell you how where we can see these strings and all those. So the next topic in the class is like dimensions versus measures. Okay, what is the meaning of dimension? What is the meaning of measure? So you see, in the Excel file, what we have just connected, right? In this, we have only three columns: name, marks, and subject. Okay. But if I go to Tableau, and when I connect to the same Excel file here, right? When I connect to the same Excel file here, yeah, can you hear me now? First, can you hear me?
Yes, Venkat, I can.
Okay. Now you see when I connect to the when I come to the Tableau and when I connect to the same Excel file, you see I can see all those columns here: name, subject, and marks. Okay, but what is the difference between these three here is if you hover your mouse on the name here, now you can see it is in the blue color. And when you hover your mouse on the subject here, now you can see it is in the blue color. But if I hover my mouse on the marks here, I can see that in a green color. So whatever you see in the blue color, those are called dimensions, and whatever you see in the green color, those are called measures. Okay, so that is the meaning of dimensions and measures. Okay. Now, why the Tableau is automatical? See, we haven't done anything, right? I simply connected to Excel file only, but Tableau is automatically dividing those fields into dimensions and measures. Tableau is automatically dividing those fields into dimensions and measures. How the Tableau is doing like that? So for name and subject, it is taking as a dimension that is a blue color. For measure, it is taking as a green color. Why means just now we have discussed about data types, right? So if the data type of a column is integer, float, or big integer, right? Tableau will consider that data type as a measure. Okay. So Tableau will consider that data type as a measure actually. So because of that reason, if I go to my Excel file, if you see marks column, right? In the marks column, I have only integers only here. Okay. So as the marks column is coming under as it contains only integers, Tableau is taking that as a measure actually. Okay. So if I go to Tableau, because of that reason, I can see marks column in green color. Now name and subject are under dimensions. Why? Because if I go to name column here, under name, I can see all the rows are in alphabetical letters only. If I go to subject also, I can see all the values are contains alphabetical letters only. Because of that reason, the Tableau will divide those fields as a dimensions. Okay. So here, if you come to this data type, right? So if the data type is character, text, varchar, something, right? Tableau will consider that as a string data type, and it will consider that as a dimension. So dimensions are in blue color, right? So I'm just trying to make it as a blue color. Okay. So what I said is like as the name and as the name and subject column contains alphabet letters, that is they're coming under they contain text or strings, right? Because of that reason, Tableau is dividing those fields into dimensions, that is in blue color. And what is the data type of these dimensions in Tableau? Okay, in the database they may taken as a string, varchar, text, like those, and the Tableau is dividing that as a dimension. But what is the data type of these dimensions in Tableau? I'm just saying here it is a string actually. But where I can see this string in Tableau? Okay, I simply go to Tableau here. You can go to any one dimension here. Simply click on this drop down here. If you go to change data type option, right? If you go to change data type option, I can see all these are the data types in the Tableau. So if someone asks you in the interviews like what are the data types in the Tableau, you can say number, whole, date, time, date, string, special, boolean, and all those you can say. But you see, as the name is coming under a dimension, and this data type is string here. You see, because of that reason, Tableau is having this black color around here, dot here. Okay, so the data type of the name here is like string here. Okay, similarly, if you go to subject, right? Subject also coming under dimension, so it is taking that as a string only. Why? Because you can see that dotted mark here. And what I said is like for measures, it is a what is the data type in the Tableau for measures is number whole and number decimal, right? How to see same thing. Go to any one measure here, click on this drop down here, go to change data type here. You can see two data types for measures here. One is number whole, number decimal, and one is number whole. As of now, this marks is divided taken as a number whole. I can see this dotted line here. So if you want to see date and date time also, right? So what I'll do is I'll go to simply Excel file. So we have pass out here also, right? So I can simply say pass out here. Okay, I have passed out in the 10th class is like in, for example, 2020. So I can say 1st April 2020. Okay, just save this Excel file. Go to Tableau, just right click and just refresh it. Now you can see that pass out here column here. Okay, that pass out here column here. And you see, if you try to observe the what is the data type of this particular column, I can see this as a date field. Okay, this is a date field here. You can see this dotted line here. So in the database, the database in the sense Excel file, in the database, the data type is either date or date time, right? Tableau will consider that as a date field only. Okay, that is a date field only. By default, these date fields are also coming under dimensions only. And what is the symbol for these dimensions? What is the symbol for these dimensions? You can see in Tableau is calendar symbol. Calendar symbol. Okay. If you go to Tableau, if you see what is the symbol for date fields means this calendar symbol. On the left side, you can see calendar symbol. If you go to string fields, right? So the name is coming under string, right? So you can see for strings, you can see ABC here. And for measures, you can see hash symbol here. Okay. For all the measures, I can see hash symbol. For all the string fields, I can see ABC, ABC, ABC. For all the date fields, I can see calendar symbol. So for example, if the database contains, uh, like for example, like I'm just saying here, or as I can simply say date here, and I'm just naming it as like 1st March 2020. And if I mention time also, right? For example, as of now, it is 18 hours, um, like 16 minutes and 10 seconds. I'm just mentioning time also here. Let's see how it will come under the Tableau. So I'll go to Tableau. I'll simply refresh the data again. Now I can see the date column also here when I refresh the data. Now you see if the date column contains date as well as time also, right? Now I can see a date symbol along with this clock symbol also. You see small clock symbol is there. Okay. So now if you go to data type of this date column, now you can see it is taken as a date and time. Okay. So we have discussed number whole, number decimal. Number decimal means, so for example here, the marks column is a taken as a number whole actually. Why? Because you know what is the difference between number whole and number decimal. Decimal means what is the meaning of decimal? So it is a number whole. If it contains decimal points like 3.25, right? That is coming under number decimal. So if you want to test right, you can go to Excel file. For example, I can say marks 2 here. So if the marks 2 contains, for example, 10.5 marks, like that, right? So if it contains like this, just I don't want to make it, and I go to tab to simply refresh it. I can see that marks 2 column also here. And if you try to observe a data type for this one is like, you see, number decimal. So marks 2 column contains integer along with the decimal points also, right? Because of that reason, it is taking as a number decimal data type. So what are the data types for measures in Tableau? So it is an interview question. What are the data types for measures in Tableau? Means you can say number decimal or number whole. And what are the data types for dimensions in Tableau? Means you can say string and date time. So along with this, we also have some other data types in Tableau, like spatial and Boolean. So we'll see bit those bit later are known actually. Okay. Okay, so till now, any questions you have? Do you have any confusion in the data types and all those? Let me know if you're having any confusion. So let me repeat one more time. So the database contains, for example, the Excel file contains so many columns. So some columns are of data type is alphabets, and some columns have data type is like numbers, and some columns contains dates and date times. So when you connect to these data sources in Tableau automatically divides some columns into dimensions and some columns into dimensions, which you can see in the blue color, and in some columns into measures. Okay. So by default, Tableau automatically will consider all the integers and numbers, data types, right, into measures, and string fields and dates into dimensions. So this is for Excel files. Okay. Similarly, if you go for MySQL database and all those also, right? So uh, for those also same actually. Okay. The same. Now, now in real time, right? So I want to tell you one scenario here. So for example, person A, you have three students, right? Person A, student A is there, student B is there, C is there, right? So in real time, now I'm just telling the difference, how to differentiate more in real time. So roll number, for example, person A contains roll number is like 001. I'm just saying 001. So wherever we have student A, that for that person the roll number is 1. Okay? Wherever we have that roll number is 1. And wherever we have B, right? So assume that this is a 2. For C, the roll number is 3. For D, the roll number is 4. And for E, the roll number is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay. I'm just generating roll number here. Okay. So I'm just saving here. Okay, I'm simply asking one more question. What is the total marks for this student A? So what I can say is, for student A, the total marks is, so I can filter this data, right? So for simplicity, I want to filter this data. I want only person A, right? So I can simply click on the name cell, go to data option, simply click on the filter button. Now you see filter option here. Simply select only person A here. Okay. The total marks for person A is 20 plus 40 plus 35. I can see that is a 95. Okay. So, but you see, when the class teacher comes into, when the class teacher coming into the class, sometimes they don't remember the names, right? So what they will do is they simply read out the total marks and student name and student roll number. So for example, for student A, what is the roll number is 1, right? For student B, the roll number is 2. And the total marks for student B is like, I can simply say B is 30 marks. Okay, 30. So what we are generating a report here. In this report, what we are displaying is, we are displaying roll number, we are displaying name of the student, and we are displaying the total marks here. Okay. So my class teacher is asking this type of report. So I want to generate the same report in Tableau also. Okay. So I'll simply go to Tableau. I'll go to some other sheet here. So I'll simply drag first. But you see what is the thing here is, just refresh it. Okay. Just give me a second. Just refresh, just save the data. Now you see, I'm just removing the filter here. See what is the data type of the roll number here? Alphabets. Okay. Sorry, not alphabets. The roll number of this, the roll numbers are numbers, right? So because of that reason, when I refresh the data in Tableau, you see the roll number is coming under measure here. The roll number is coming under measure here. How I can say it is coming under measure? When I hover my mouse on this particular column, I can see it is in a green color. So green color means measure here. Okay. So what is the default behavior of the measures in Tableau? So I'll tell you one thing here. So we have to observe one thing here. So whenever I drag any measure, whenever I drag any measure into the text here, you see, as a text or row shelf or column shelf, whenever I drag any measure into the text here, you see, Tableau automatically doing the summation. Tableau automatically doing the summation for all the measures, not only for marks too. Whatever the measure we have, right? If you drag the measure into the text here, Tableau automatically will do the summation here. Okay, but it is not the same. Similarly, when you drag the roll number here, right? Tableau is doing the summation for this roll number. So when I do the summation of all the roll numbers, it is summing up to 17. So this 17 roll number is correct or not? This is not correct, right? Why? Because in real time, we don't do the summation of roll numbers. We can do the summation of marks here, but we cannot do the summation of roll number. What will happen if I do the summation of roll number? Okay, I just let you know. So if I drag the name into the row shelf here, you see for the person A, what is the roll number it is giving? 3 here. But what is the roll number for person A? If I go to the database, for person A, the roll number is 1 only. So the Tableau has to display the roll number 1 for this person A only. For this person, Tableau has to display the roll number is 1 only. But as the roll number is coming under measure here, Tableau is doing the summation for all these measures. Okay. If I go to next sheet, if you drag any dimension into the row shelf, Tableau will not do the summation here. Why? Because of the reason it is not a alphabet. Because of not the reason it is a alphabet. As it is a alphabet, so I can say for dimension, right? As this dimension contains alphabets, because of that reason it is not doing summation. No, that is not the reason actually. Just give me a second. So okay, so when I drag the name into row shelf here, Tableau is not doing the summation for these dimensions. If I say why the Tableau is not doing the summation for these dimensions, means we may simply say I can't do the summation of A plus B plus C plus D, right? I can say like this, but that is not the correct for dimension. So what the Tableau will do for dimension is whatever the dimension may contain alphabets, the dimension may contains numbers, right? The Tableau will not do the summation for dimensions. Okay. So for example, what I will do is I'll simply go to roll number here. I'll simply duplicate this roll number. Okay, I can do the duplication also. For any field, you can do the duplication. Now I'll go to this duplication data field. I'll go to the change data type option. As of now, it is a number code. Now what I will do is I'll convert this measure into dimension. How to convert the measure to dimension means for dimensions, what is the data type? For dimensions, the data type I can see here is ABC, that is string, or dates. For dimensions, the data type is either dates or strings, right? But I can see the roll number contains only numbers, right? It is not coming under date. So what I will do is I'll convert this into string here. Now you see it is converted into string, that is ABC. Now the next step what I will do is I'll go to again this drop down. I'll convert this into dimension. I simply click on the dimension option. Now you see now the same roll number is coming under dimension list with ABC symbol. Now if you drag this roll number into the row shelf here, now you see Tableau is not doing the summation for this roll number. Why? Because now this roll number is coming under dimension list. So if any field that is coming under dimension list, Tableau will not do the summation for that. So just we have to keep this in mind in real time. And for example, for example, I say I want to add one more field here. So for example, I want to add phone number. Okay, phone number also a integer. It contains only numbers only, right? For a, wherever I see a, the phone number is same. Wherever I see other persons, the roll number, the phone number will be different. Okay. Okay. For the purpose only, I am taking. Okay. I'm just saving it. So in real time, we have some scenarios where we have to sometimes we have to convert our dimensions into measures and measures into dimensions. In this particular scenario, we have to convert our phone number and roll numbers into dimensions actually. Why? Because if they are appearing under measure list, right, Tableau will automatically do the summation. You see, Tableau automatically will do the summation. But I can't do the summation for different roll numbers, right? Why? Because if I do the summation for all the phone numbers, you see for person A, when I do the summation of all the phone numbers 1, 2, 3 plus 1, 2, 3 like that, it is summing up to 369, which is a wrong value. So what I'll do is I'll simply go to phone number. So the simplest method to convert any measure into dimension is I'll simply drag this phone number into this dimension list. Now you see the phone number is appearing under dimension list. Now if you drag this into text row shelf or column shelf, now you can see 1, 2, 3 only. Okay. So in real time or in interview, if someone asks you where the scenario we will convert some measures into dimensions, you can say this example actually. Also, they will ask you what is the difference between dimension and measure. In real time, in interviews, they will ask you what is the difference between dimension and measure. See, if they want to eliminate you, if they don't want to if they don't want to you to select in the interview, right, they will ask you some basic questions only. What is the difference between dimension and measure? They will ask you simple question. You can simply remember this answer. If you drag any measure into either text row shelf or column shelf, Tableau will automatically do the aggregation like summation for all the measures. Whatever the measure you will drag into the text field here, text shelf here, Tableau will automatically do the aggregation for all the measures. The aggregation means here summation. You can say like this answer. And whatever the dimension you will drag into the either row shelf or column shelf or text field only, the Tableau will not do the summation for these dimensions. Instead, what the Tableau will do is Tableau will display the values as it is for the dimensions in Tableau sheets. Okay, without duplication means in the database the person A is repeating in 3 rows, 1, 2, 3 rows, but Tableau is displaying only one time only here. Okay, so simply the last thing I want to repeat is for dimensions are not aggregatable. Okay, I can say simply dimensions, I can simply say that cannot be summable. We can't do the summation for dimensions. Okay, for measures Tableau automatically will do the summation for measures. Okay, so this is simplest definition. So they will ask you sometime if the dimension contains only numbers like 1, 2, 3 like that. You can say even though the dimension contains numbers, Tableau will not do the summation. For example, roll number and phone numbers. Roll number and phone number. Even though these are even though this roll number and phone number contains numeric values, right? These will come under dimensions only, not into the measures. But Tableau, as this roll number and phone number contains numbers, right? By default, based on the data type of these fields, Tableau automatically divides that into a measure only. Later, we can convert these measures into dimensions. Okay. So just now we have discussed about where the scenario or how we can convert the dimensions into measures, right? So as of now, we have seen option only. So if you want to convert roll number measure into dimension, right? What I can do, simply go to drop down, go to the change data type, and simply select string, or you can simply convert it to dimension. This is the option you can see. But if you want to do the same thing using calculation field, right? So what I will do is I'll go to this drop down here, go to create calculation field. Now simply drag this roll number here. Now I want to convert this measure into dimension, right? So what I will simply do is, in Tableau we have one function which is called str function. Okay. Using this str function, we can convert the measures into dimensions, or we can convert integers into strings actually. Now this is a calculation one. When you click on OK, now you see automatically calculation one is appearing under dimension list. How I am identifying is I can see that in the blue color and with ABC symbol and with equal to symbol. Equal to symbol means we have discussed it, right? Like equal means that is a calculation field. Whenever you see equal symbol for equal symbol right for some field, that is a calculation field we have created in the in the Tableau itself. This calculation is not coming from the database. We have created that in the within the table. Now whenever you drag this into row shelf or column shelf, right? Now you see one only. For person A, the roll number is one. Why? Because now this, as we have converted the roll number into string here, now this is coming at a dimension. For dimensions, Tableau will display values as it is. It won't do the summation.
I can do
Uh,
calculation open చేసి.
Want to open calculation? Okay. Hello. Any question here?
హలో ఇక్కడ ఒక్క నిమిషం. ఇక్కడ క్యాలిక్యులేషన్ ఓపెన్ చేయకుండా రోల్ నెంబర్ కి కన్వర్ట్ చేశాను కదా స్ట్రింగ్ కి.
అవును.
మనకి ఇక్కడ సబ్ టెక్స్ట్ లో ఏబిసి అని రావాలి కదా, రాలేదు.
ఇక్కడ
మాకు ఐ మీన్ సెకండ్ లిస్ట్ లో ఇంటీజర్స్ చూపించే లిస్ట్.
ఇంటిజర్ లో రాదు, ఎందుకంటే ఈ ఫీల్డ్ మనం యాక్సెస్ అట్లనే ఉంచేసినాం. మనము ఇంకొక క్యాలిక్యులేషన్ ఫీల్డ్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకున్నాం మనం. దాని నుంచి ఈ మెజర్ ని బేస్ చేసుకుని ఇంకో క్యాలిక్యులేషన్ ఫీల్డ్ క్రియేట్ చేసుకున్నాము. ఆ క్యాలిక్యులేషన్ మనకి ఏబిసి అని వస్తుంది మెజర్ లో.
ఓకే, అంటే ఇది జస్ట్ మనం ఇంత ముందు డూప్లికేట్ చేసి చేసేవాళ్ళం, ఇది డైరెక్ట్ క్యాలిక్యులేషన్ కి వెళ్తే డైరెక్ట్.
కరెక్ట్ కరెక్ట్ కరెక్ట్. ఇంతకుముందు డూప్లికేట్. సో ఇన్ రియల్ టైమ్ వెన్ యూ గో టు రియల్ టైమ్ రైట్, don't do any modification to the original field.
Okay.
Unless it is required. Why? Because if you do any modification or if you do any change data type, right, for any field, right, later you can't identify whether it is a dimension or measure. So because of that, is most of the time in real time, what we do is we'll either we duplicate this and change the data type, or we go to calculation fields. Okay, in rare cases only you can convert that into directly to dimension like this. Now we have seen just how why we have seen scenarios where we can convert dimensions into measures, right? And we have some more scenarios where we have to convert dimensions into measures. Okay, for example, I can see name is a dimension here. In some scenarios I want to convert this dimension into measure actually. What is that scenario means? For example, I want to display how many students are there in a class. So the simple answer I can say is person A is one member, two, three, four, like that. I can count, right? So count means it is a number. So to count, if you want to count to how many values are there in a particular dimension, we have to convert that dimension into measure actually. So to convert dimension into measure, right? The simplest solution is we have two methods actually to display in the as we have discussed in the second video. For any scenario, we have two options. We have option as well as we have calculation field. If there is no possibility of option, then we can go for calculation field. But here I will tell you first option using option. The direct option I can say is directly drag this into text field here, text shelf here. It will display all the student names here. But my requirement is I want to show how many students are there. I want to simply count all the students and display the number. So I'll simply drag, I'll simply click on this drop down here. I can go to measure option here. I want to count, right? So I can simply go to, I can simply click on the count distinct option. Now you see it is displaying count distinct is 5. So in the class, there are 5 students are there. Okay. So I can see two options here. There is count function is there, count distinct function is there. What is the difference between these two is count distinct means it will count the distinct values only. For example, a is repeating in three rows, but it will count only one time only. Okay, like that. Now we have one more option here, which is called count function. When you do the count, right, it will now it is displaying 7 here. So count means what the count will do is, even though a is repeating in three rows, it will count three times. A will be counted three times like that. Okay. So count means it will count the duplicate values also. Duplicate means A is repeating three times, one, two, three. So it is a duplicated value. So count will count the duplicated values also, or repeated values also it will count. But count distinct will count only one time. If the value is repeating 1 lakh times, right? Still it will count only one time only. So this is the direct option I can say. One of the option we will use in the real time. I'm just going back here. You see, when you convert that into a measure count, right? I can see this option here, count function. You can see here. The aggregation I can see here is count. So this is the one option. The second option, what I can do is I can simply duplicate this name field, just duplicate it, and now convert this into measure. Just convert this into measure. Now you see, when you convert this into measure, automatically that will appear in the green color here, and in the brackets I can see count distinct here. So you can simply go to this, drag this into text here. Still, I can see the value is 5 here. Okay. So like that, if you want to convert this from count distinct to count, right? I can simply go to change data type option here. You can simply, okay, I can't check. As it's a calculation field, right? I can simply go to edit option here. So, so this is the option you can convert into measure. And the last method, what we can do is I can simply go to calculation field. Okay. I can use a count function here. Count distinct. We have count distinct function is there. Count d of name here. Name here. So what it will do is it will simply count how many distinct names are there. So this is a calculation tool. Just click on OK. Now I can see calculation 2 here. When you drag into text here, I can see count distinct is 5. So these are the methods actually. Any question in this?
Like that, there is a small if we have a set of data which includes the numbers and letters even, then
Yeah,
how
for
will it
example,
treat?
if a column 1, right? For example, if a column contains 1A, 2, like that, right? So I'm just saying alphabets. Whenever it is a combination of alphanumeric, right?
Mhm.
Alphanumeric means it will be taken as a dimensional. See, as it is a Excel file, right? We are not mentioning what is the data type of a particular column. Why? Because you see in the Excel also, I can see one option here. Uh, if I go to home button, you can see general option here. Okay. So what the Excel file will do is when you are trying to enter the value in a particular cell, right? Excel file will automatically identify what is the data type of this particular column. But in real time, right? In real time, in the databases, when you are trying to enter this column, right? We have to manually mention what is the data type of this particular column. I'll show you tomorrow. Tomorrow we will try to enter, we'll try to create this table with same data in the MySQL database. And in the databases, it will not be like this. So in the database, whenever you are creating table, right, after the name, we have to mention what is the data type of this column actually, character. Okay. So here I have name column, and for name column, I'm mentioning data type is character. So we have discussed data types, right, initially, character, text, like that, right? So in the databases, when you are creating a table in the database, we have to mention what is the data type of this particular column in the databases. So, and when you connect to this particular table, right, Tableau will auto when Tableau will automatically identify what is the data type of this column. So if the data type of this column is character, right? Not only character, if it is falling under all these data types, right? Tableau automatically will do the Tableau automatically convert that into a dimension. Okay. So as it is a Excel database, Tableau automatically identifies what is the data type of a column. But when you connect to the database also, Tableau automatically identify what is the data type of that particular column, what we have mentioned there while creating the table. While creating the table, if I mention data type is character, Tableau will automatically reads this data type and divide that into a dimension. If you mention while creating the table, if I mention the data type is integer, when you connect to this table, Tableau automatically identify, okay, data type is integer, right? Okay, I have to divide this into measure. So Tableau will divide dimensions columns into measures and dimensions based on the data type what we mention while creating the tables. Okay. In the Excel file also, I can mention the data type here actually. Okay. So what I want to do is, for example, I want to create a marks column 3 here, or I want to create, for example, Aadhaar number. Okay. Aadhaar also contains all the numbers only, right? For example, if I take particular person, the number may be like, I'm just taking the number will be same, right, for person A, right? But as it contains only numbers, right, what the Tableau will do, it will consider that as a measure only. But what I can do here is I can select this particular column here in the Excel itself. Okay, I'll select this column. I can go to this general option, and here I can select what should be the data type of this column. I can mention, like I can go to more numbers option. I can select the data type of this is a text here. Okay, I can see number, currency, accounting, date, time, right? So in the Excel also we have data types actually, but most of the time, right, we don't select these data types in Excel. So, but what the Excel will do is, what are the based on the values what you are entering here, right? Tableau Excel automatically divides that into a measure number integer actually. Why? Because you are entering all the integers only here. Excel will consider that column as a integer column, number column. But specifically, I can mention the data type is text here. Now you see what is the difference here is, whenever it is a number data type, all the numbers you can see on the right side. Okay. Whenever I change it to text here, and you just click on OK, now you see all the numbers are moved to left side. So in the Excel, numbers will be on the, if the data type is a integer, right, it will be on the right side. If that is a string, right, or that is a text field, right, then automatically the alignment will be on the left side. You see similar thing, right? For name, you can see alignment is left side. For number, for marks, it is the alignment is right side, like that. So for string fields, the alignment will be on the left side. So I have converted this Aadhaar number column into text here. Now save this, go to Tableau, just refresh the data here. So now where I can see the Aadhaar number, maybe it is going under dimension measures only, maybe. Yeah, Aadhaar number. See, for Excel file, Tableau is not able to identify this data type. But in real time, right, in that while creating the databases, right, if you mention the data type is a character or text, right, Tableau automatically convert that into, populate that column into dimension list only. Okay, so I will create a table tomorrow in the MySQL database, and will show you how the Tableau will convert those columns into dimension and measures. Okay, so no need to bother about this, but it is an important question in the real time in the interviews, that they will try to validate you basic questions. If you are not perfect in the basic, right, they won't select you actually. The simplest question they can ask you, what is the difference between dimension and measure? Okay, so just remember, whenever they ask you the difference between dimension and measure, right, simply you have to come from the data types onwards. You have to answer from data types onwards. I can say simply, While creating table in the database, if I mention data type of a column is text, character, or string, Tableau will consider that column as a dimension, divide that column into dimension. If I mention data type of any column as integer, floating, big integer, Tableau will consider that column as a measure. Okay, like that you have to tell your answer. And they will ask you what is the one more difference between dimension and measure means. If it is a measure, whenever you drag any measure into the row shelf, column shelf, or text here, right? Tableau will automatically do the summation. That is aggregation, we have to say. So these are the two clear answers you have to give when they ask you about dimension versus measures. Okay. So I'm just stopping the recording. So if you have any question, you can ask.